the defensive backfield here. I think that a year makes a world of difference in terms of their confidence level at those spots. I think corner for sure. You got a nice depth in that room. A lot of different guys who can do different things. I do think there is still a little bit of skepticism about the safety position though, and the depth there. Right, that more so the depth. I think you're very excited about Poyser, Jacoby Thomas, what he brings from Tennessee, and that physical mentality that you've mentioned all offseason was needed. But you still have questions. These are guys coming in from different schools, right? Poyser being a guy who's taking a big leap up, physically, speed-wise, twitchiness. He seems like he has it, but not a whole lot of proven depth behind that right now.
Yeah, I asked about Jacoby Thomas yesterday, and the positive reviews, he's moving around pretty well. What I like about, so there's two things we needed at safety. I think we needed a dude, right? We needed somebody who's NFL caliber guy. With Poyser, he's who Georgia wanted to replace Malachi Starks. That was they have KJ Bolden at safety, the other safety who's a 5-star, who's going to be, freshman All-America. He's going to be a monster. The other freshman All-America last year on a lot of publications was Zechariah Poyser at Jacksonville State, which is lower FBS, G5. So Georgia wanted to take the other true freshman All-America to pair with their signed true freshman All-American KJ Bolden and replace Malachi Starks, who got drafted by the Ravens. We ended up winning that battle and bringing Zechariah Poyser to Miami. I say that all just to say like how good he is from a perspective standpoint, like how other teams viewed him. He can move, he can cover, he can play the ball, he can hit. He's very smart back there. We saw him in spring. Jacoby Thomas coming in later, so I haven't seen him yet, but got good reviews when I asked about him yesterday. But Poyser, I think, is a dude. What Thomas brings is something I've been screaming since last year that in my opinion, we needed. I could be wrong, but I said this last year before the season. I say it now. We just haven't had a guy who's out there just to hit somebody. And that's not we don't have players that don't hit or aren't physical. But like there's certain players that they are only there. Their first priority is hitting somebody. And they might get kicked out of games, but they're out there to hit. Amari Carter was like that. They're out there to get a highlight reel headshot. Corey Smith, appreciate you, man. Yeah, please like and subscribe. Got over 1,300 on. Like we even had a guy like Nate Webster back in the day. It's like someone that when you see him on the field, you know that they're not going to be happy unless they hurt somebody.
You're wrong. You're wrong. It wasn't always very consistent, but Amari Carter was definitely in that category, I would say.
Oh, no, I was saying sense him.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, sense him. We haven't had a guy like that. Like I use him as an example of a guy that was like that. So we haven't had a guy like that in a while. And I think Jacoby Thomas is in that realm. I think he's more athletic than Amari Carter. Not like, is he going to be like an NFL guy like Zechariah Poyser, I think could be. I don't know. He's more athletic, I think, than Carter, but he's that kind of guy where he's trying to hurt some, like you said, trying to hurt like Amari Carter, trying to hurt somebody, trying to make the other team feel his presence. And I just think we've needed that. And I think Torrey has some of that as well, where he just has a certain intensity to the way he plays. And I think those two guys in particular at linebacker and safety are going to really change how the whole thing feels because we just haven't had that presence, my opinion. But good reviews on Jacoby Thomas yesterday when I asked about him.
Yeah, I think there's to me the biggest question will be kind of like how they line up with all these guys who are versatile. We heard so much about, well, a guy like Damari Brown, he could play safety. Xavier Lucas, he has the length to play safety, but you also really like that length at corner if you could keep it there, if they can keep up with some of the smaller guys.
No question. Yeah, one of my wells I was saying Lucas is cornerback one. Maybe when the free safety allows us to play all these other guys. I think Lucas going to the NFL. I mean, he's going to. It reminds me of like a Tyson Campbell. Who else was like kind of like a Tyreek Stevenson? Yeah, we could talk about them playing safety, but ultimately, I think their path is to the NFL pretty high, and they'll be good for us. Damari Brown. So I want to talk about Damari Brown. So I'm glad this was brought up. So Damari Brown, people don't realize we had to pay a lot of money to keep him. Teams were coming after Damari Brown extremely hard. And he was injured really while he was getting recruited. So we kind of took a leap of faith to say, we need you to stay. He comes back halfway through spring, playing corner, and was outstanding. He might have been our second best corner in spring, behind Lucas. And Frederic was injured. But when Brown came back, I would say he was probably our second best corner, just in spring. He's somebody that he could also, in my opinion, be a really, really nasty safety. He's a hitter. He could also play nickel. He's big. He's over 200 pounds. And I think with him, what he has to understand is not because he can't play corner that you want to move to these other spots. It's going to help his NFL draft stock by helping the team because he can do more things. Not because he can't play corner. It's probably because he could be a better safety than other guys can be safety. And he can be better nickel than other guys can be nickel. So we'll see how that all plays out. But I think him staying obviously allows you to move him around more because you don't got to worry about keeping him happy. Being real. And I think he can do great. It's going to help his stock because he is very physical. He's a hitter. He does his thing. And that's what I like about his game. Jay's asking, how good is Xavier Lucas for Wisconsin to be crashing out the way they are with the lawsuit? I'm guessing he's elite. That's a pretty good context clue. Pete, you were there for to see him in person. To me, first round pick, Tyson Campbell, Stokes from Georgia, Tyreek Stevenson. Not saying he's exactly like any of those guys.
I'm not going to say surefire first round pick just yet.
Well, those guys were second rounders too. I'm saying in that class.
I'm not saying that yet, but I'm very excited about what he could be this year for this team.
Yeah, and look, they got to play. So
right, that's why I'm not jumping on that yet as a sophomore right now.
I've noticed that first impressions often are, when it comes to the physical stuff, are usually very accurate. Just going to practice in Green Tree. I think back to when I first saw Njoku, when I first saw Rousseau, when I first saw Clive Walford, guys like that. Stevenson, who was already pretty no commodity, but just in terms of guys we're talking about, DJ Ivey, who's now in the NFL and sticking around. Like those first impressions physically, you can tell who looks like they're going to play professionally. And I think with Lucas, your first impression of him was he moves well enough at corner that I don't think you have to move him. He's 200 plus pounds. He's 6'2", and he runs a 4.3, and he looks like he runs a 4.3, and he could find the football. So, put that all together with a serious personality, I think we're talking about the best traits that we've had at corner since the Tyreek Stevensons, since the DJ Ivies, but more so because this guy's a legit 4.3, since those kind of guys. But that's what I see there. Charisse Armistead saying this guy will be this will probably be one of the best seasons Miami's had in the last decade. Man, I hope you're right, Charisse. That'd be huge.
Better than last year? I don't know.
That we need it on defense. Brandon Rosenbaum saying, what are we doing at safety? We're getting any top targets. We need a lot of help at safety. We need to recruit better there. Got to get some guys coming in. I think in terms of depth, our top two are going to be good because Zechariah Poyser will be a guy. I think you might need someone to move over if there's injuries. I mentioned Damari Brown as someone who has the ability to do it. And then Dylan Day is a favorite of ours, Pete. I know we've talked about him. Best special teams player we had last year. I think he could be a Sheldrick Redwine type player. Sheldrick Redwine being an NFL safety, 4th round pick, I believe, who played a few years and was really, really good as a junior and senior. I see some of those traits with a Dylan Day, someone that I know you've been high on every time you've seen him.
Yeah, I mean, it really wouldn't surprise me to see him end up starting next to Poyser when it's all said and done. I think that he has more upside maybe than Thomas in coverage. We understand what Thomas brings from a physical standpoint, but I think the speed that Day brings and his ability to cover ground could be really valuable. And he's got the physicality too. We saw him on special teams. It's not like this is a guy who isn't there to get his nose dirty.
100%. We're almost at 1,500 like and subscribe to the show. Drew Linfield saying, feels like we haven't landed a solid safety since Ed Reed left. I mean, I don't know. I mean, look,
we had a first team All-American in Cam Kitchens. So
yeah, Jaquan Johnson, I think, made All-America teams. Kenny Phillips was one of the best safeties we had in the country. He would have been a perennial Pro Bowler if he didn't get that arthritic knee. They used to call him Superman with the Giants because he was so good that when he got there.
That's what they said about me in my wellness center career.
Are you retired? Is your knee arthritic?
I mean, I've torn the ACL twice. I have another appointment on Monday for the same knee. You know, it's not too great these days, but I'm still jigging and moving, man. I can still get around a little bit.
The post game doesn't age. The skill that doesn't age.
It doesn't. I'm more concerned about my career on the pitch. That's gonna be a tough one with the running.
So you gotta stay in shape. Burstone saying, "Smash that like button. It's free. Appreciate you." Shout out to the villains. Shout out to you, Burstone, man. You're always bringing it here in the chat. Glad, man. It's exciting. A lot of excitement now. We got recruiting still to go, and I hope there's more commitment videos because that was fun doing one every day. And there's, I know the buzz has kind of gone the other way lately, but I like getting more focus on the team because I think bottom line, like Charisse is saying, we got to make the AC title game, got to make the playoff.